The stars twinkled silently in the dark void of space as senior observer Tae-ho Kim sat at his monitoring station, his eyes fixed on the holographic displays before him. The observation post, hidden behind the asteroid belt of the Sol system, had been his home for the past 5 years. Today seemed like any other day, but that was about to change. The third planet, Earth, had been under constant surveillance for decades. The Galactic Council considered humans a fascinating yet primitive species, watching as they took their first tentative steps into space exploration. Tae-ho had seen countless rocket launches, space station expansions, and lunar missions, but nothing had prepared him for what he was witnessing now. A small Earth vessel, barely larger than a standard shuttle, appeared on his screens. At first, it seemed to be conducting routine maneuvers near their moon. Then something extraordinary happened. The ship's energy readings spiked in a pattern Tae-ho had seen thousands of times before, but never from Earth. His hands began to shake as he double-checked the readings. The implications were enormous. "Commander Park," he called out, his voice cracking with excitement. "They've done it. The humans have successfully tested their first faster-than-light drive." Commander Jaewon Park, who had been reviewing reports in her office, rushed to the observation deck. Her usually neat black hair was slightly disheveled, and her golden uniform sparkled under the station's lights. She leaned over Tae-ho's shoulder, her eyes widening as she watched the small vessel complete a perfect FTL jump from the moon to Mars. "This changes everything," she muttered, straightening her posture. "Contact the Council immediately. Priority 1 alert." Within hours, the Galactic Council's emergency chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of spacefaring races. The massive circular room buzzed with concerned whispers and heated debates. The High Council members, seated on their elevated platform, studied the data from Earth with growing unease. "How did they develop FTL technology without our knowledge?" asked one council member, their crystalline form shimmering with agitation. "Perhaps our monitoring was not as thorough as we believed," suggested another, their tentacles waving in concern. After much discussion, the council made their decision. Following standard first contact procedures, they would send a diplomatic vessel to Earth. They expected the humans to be overwhelmed, perhaps even frightened by their arrival. It would be a delicate mission, requiring patience and understanding as they guided this young species into the galactic community. The diplomatic vessel, the Star Envoy, was dispatched immediately. It was a magnificent ship, its pearlescent hull designed to appear non-threatening, while still showcasing the advanced technology of the Council races. As they approached Earth's orbit, the crew prepared their carefully crafted first contact messages. But what happened next shocked everyone aboard the Star Envoy. Instead of finding a planet in chaos at their arrival, they were met by an organized and composed response. Multiple ships of obvious human origin moved to intercept them, taking up escort positions with practiced precision. These vessels were nothing like the experimental ship they had observed. They were sleek, powerful, and clearly built for defense. A transmission came through their communication system, delivered in perfect galactic standard. "This is the United Earth Defense Force. We've been expecting you. Please maintain your current position while we verify your diplomatic credentials." Commander Jaewon Park, watching from the observation post, felt a chill run down her spine. The humans hadn't just developed FTL technology. They had been preparing for this moment for years, perhaps decades. They had somehow managed to decrypt galactic standard communications, build a fleet in secret, and establish a unified planetary defense force, all while appearing to be a primitive, divided species. As the Star Envoy's crew struggled to process this unexpected turn of events, more Earth ships emerged from hidden positions throughout their solar system. The humans had not only surprised the Galactic Council, they had completely outmaneuvered them. Back in the observation post, Tae-ho looked at his commander. "What do we do now?" Commander Park watched the unfolding scene with a mixture of admiration and concern. "Now," she said quietly, We wait to see just how many more surprises the humans have in store for us. The day that was supposed to mark humanity's introduction to galactic society instead became known as the day the galaxy realized they had severely underestimated Earth. The simple first contact procedure had turned into something far more complex, and no one in the Galactic Council could predict what would happen next. In the heart of Lunar Command, Earth's Defense Commissioner Hainul Lee watched the massive holographic display with intense focus. The three-dimensional map of the solar system filled the dimly lit command center, showing hundreds of green dots representing Earth's hidden fleet. Each dot marked a warship that humanity had built in absolute secrecy over the past 30 years. Hainul's dark uniform bore the simple insignia of the United Earth Defense Force, a silver Earth surrounded by 12 stars. She placed her hands on the smooth metal railing, looking down at her assembled staff who sat at their monitoring stations below. Their faces were lit by the soft blue glow of their screens. "They think we're newcomers to the galactic stage," she said, her voice calm but filled with quiet confidence. "Let them keep thinking that." Her words echoed through the silent command center as the staff exchanged knowing looks. A hologram zoomed in on Jupiter's moons, revealing massive shipyards hidden within the hollowed-out cores of several smaller moons. Similar facilities existed throughout the asteroid belt and in underground bases on Mars. Earth had been busy, very busy indeed. Commander Jinho Park, Hainul's chief of operations, stepped forward with a tablet in his hands. "The Council's diplomatic team has just docked at Orbital Station Alpha, Commissioner. Their representative, Su-Jin Cho, seems quite eager to begin negotiations." Hainul nodded, straightening her uniform. "Time to give them their first real look at what we've built. But remember, we show them only what we want them to see." The orbital station was humanity's pride and joy, a masterpiece of engineering that combined both human innovation and reverse-engineered alien technology. As the Council's diplomatic team was escorted through its gleaming corridors, their carefully maintained expressions of diplomatic politeness began to crack. Su-Jin Cho, leading the alien delegation, couldn't hide his shock as they passed through the first security checkpoint. The shield technology they witnessed wasn't just advanced. It was something that, according to all Galactic Council records, shouldn't exist for at least another century of human development. The security field shimmered with a pearl-like iridescence as it scanned each visitor. Hainul watched as Su-Jin's four eyes widened, his scaled skin shifting colors in what she had learned was a sign of extreme surprise among his species. The meeting room offered a spectacular view of Earth below, its blue and white surface peaceful against the black of space. Hainul sat at the head of the table, facing the alien delegation. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. "How long have you been monitoring our transmissions?" Su-Jin finally asked, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into perfect English. The question had clearly been burning in his mind since their arrival. Hainul smiled, the kind of smile that gave away nothing while suggesting everything. "Long enough." She let the words hang in the air for a moment before continuing. "We detected your first probe in our system 97 years ago. Since then, we've been quite busy." The revelation sent a visible shock through the alien delegation. Su-Jin's scales shifted to a pale blue, a sign of distress. "Impossible. Our stealth technology was impressive." Hainul interrupted politely, "but not perfect. We learned a great deal from studying it. In fact, we should thank you. Your observation of Earth pushed us to develop faster than we might have otherwise." She pressed a button on the table, and a hologram appeared showing the full extent of Earth's orbital defenses. It wasn't everything they had, of course, but it was enough to make their point. The alien delegation stared at the display in stunned silence. "We're not here to threaten or challenge the Galactic Council," Hainul continued, her voice firm but diplomatic. "We're here to join the galactic community. As equals, not as subjects. Earth is ready to share its innovations and participate in galactic trade, but we will do so on our terms." Su-Jin leaned forward, his scales now showing a mix of colors that indicated both concern and respect. The Council will want to know how humans achieved all this without detection. Hey Newell's smile widened slightly. That's just one of many questions you have, I'm sure. And we'll be happy to answer them. Some of them, at least, as our relationship develops. For now, perhaps we should discuss the terms of Earth's membership in the Galactic Council. As the meeting continued, Hey Newell could see the shift in the alien delegates' demeanor. They had come expecting to guide a young, naive species into the galactic community. Instead, they found themselves dealing with a civilization that had not only caught up to them technologically, but had managed to keep it secret for nearly a century. In Lunar Command, the holographic display continued to track Earth's hidden fleet, ready to emerge if needed. Humanity had played its first hand well, but the game was just beginning. Deep within the asteroid belt, hidden inside a massive hollowed-out space rock, final preparations were underway for humanity's greatest achievement. The HSS Phoenix floated in its construction cradle, its sleek hull gleaming under the bright lights of Earth's largest secret shipyard. This was no ordinary vessel. It was the pinnacle of human engineering and innovation. Captain Min-Ho Kang stood at the center of the Phoenix's bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched his crew perform their final checks. The bridge hummed with activity as officers moved between their stations, their movements precise and practiced. Through the main viewport, he could see maintenance crews in their spacesuits performing last-minute inspections of the outer hull. The Phoenix was beautiful. Its dark hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, a result of the new stealth materials developed specifically for this ship. At nearly 2 kilometers in length, it dwarfed anything humanity had built before. But its size wasn't what made it special. It was what lay beneath its skin that would change everything. All systems check complete. Captain, reported First Officer Yi Jin Song from her station. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls as she reviewed the final diagnostics. Engineering reports all power systems are functioning at optimal levels. Min-Ho nodded, walking to the captain's chair positioned at the heart of the bridge. The chair was simple but comfortable, designed for long periods of command. As he sat down, the ship's systems recognized him and his personal displays came to life. Status report from all sections, he ordered, his voice calm but carrying the weight of authority. Weapons systems online and ready, came the response from the tactical station. Navigation systems calibrated and ready, reported the helm officer. Life support operating at 100%. Added another crew member. Shield generators primed and stable, confirmed the defense officer. Each report brought a small smile to Min-Ho's face. The Phoenix represented years of work, combining technologies that the Galactic Council races had never thought to put together. Its power core used a new form of fusion technology. Its shields operated on principles that defied conventional galactic science. Even its weapons were unique, designed to be both powerful and precise. Through the viewport, the massive doors of the shipyard began to open, revealing the star-filled space beyond. Maintenance crews cleared the area, their small ships looking like insects next to the Phoenix's massive form. "This is it," Min-Ho said, sitting up straighter in his chair. "Time to show the galaxy what humanity can do. Helm, begin launch sequence." The Phoenix's engines came to life, their deep hum resonating through the ship. The sound was barely noticeable on the bridge, thanks to advanced sound-dampening technology, but everyone could feel the power building beneath their feet. "Docking clamps released," reported the helm officer. "We are clear for launch." Min-Ho took a deep breath. "Take us out, nice and easy. 1/4 power to maneuvering thrusters." The Phoenix moved forward with grace that belied its size. As it cleared the shipyard, its sensors began mapping the surrounding space in detail far beyond what conventional systems could achieve. The asteroid belt spread out before them, a perfect hiding place for humanity's greatest achievement. Engineering reports all systems performing above expected parameters. Yi Jin announced, a note of pride in her voice. The new drive core is stable and ready for our first real test. Minho stood up, walking to the front of the bridge. The stars seemed to beckon to him, promising adventures and challenges ahead. Set course for the test coordinates. Let's see what this ship can really do. The Phoenix accelerated smoothly, its revolutionary engines pushing it to speeds that would have impressed even the most advanced council races. But speed wasn't its only advantage. As they traveled, the ship's adaptive systems learned and adjusted, becoming more efficient with each passing moment. "Sir," called out the sensor officer, "we're picking up a council observation ship at the edge of the belt. They haven't detected us yet." Minho smiled. The Phoenix's stealth systems were working perfectly. Maintain course. Let them see us when we want them to see us. The crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person knowing their role in this historic moment. They were the first crew of the most advanced ship humanity had ever built, and they were about to announce their presence to the galaxy in a way that couldn't be ignored. As the Phoenix approached its test coordinates, Minho returned to his chair. "Prepare for full power demonstration. Let's give our hidden audience something to think about." The future of human-galactic relations would be forever changed by what happened next. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship, it was a statement. Humanity wasn't just joining the galactic community, they were rewriting the rules of what was possible. "All stations report ready," Captain Yi-Jin announced, her voice steady and confident. Minho nodded, his eyes fixed on the stars ahead. "Then let's begin. Show them what the Phoenix can do." The diplomatic chamber aboard New Geneva Station buzzed with activity, its circular design reflecting the principles of equality that Earth championed. Ambassador Jai-Yun Choi sat at her place in the grand meeting hall, her posture perfect despite the hours of tense negotiations. The soft blue light from Earth, visible through the station's massive windows, cast a calming glow over the proceedings. Representatives from 12 different species filled the chamber, their voices rising in heated debate. The Arcosians, with their crystalline bodies, sparkled as they gestured in frustration. The bird-like Varians fluttered their wing cloaks in agitation. Even the usually stoic Meridians showed signs of stress, their color-changing skin shifting through shades of yellow and orange. Jai-Yun observed it all with careful attention, her dark diplomatic uniform adorned only with Earth's new symbol of unity, a silver planet surrounded by stars. Her assistant, Min-Soo Park, leaned over to whisper in her ear. "The Tellarites have just announced their decision to seek Earth's protection," he said quietly. "That makes 3 species this week alone." Jai-Yun nodded slightly, keeping her expression neutral. The Tellarites were the 3rd smaller species to approach Earth for protection, following the Varians and the Kestrels. Each request had sent new shockwaves through the Galactic Council. "The humans cannot be trusted," thundered the Arcosian representative, his crystalline form vibrating with emotion. "They hid their true capabilities from us for decades. How can we be sure of their intentions now?" "And what of the Council's intentions?" countered the Varian delegate, her feathers ruffling. "For centuries, you larger species have dominated trade routes, restricted technology sharing, and treated us as little more than servants." The chamber erupted into fresh arguments. Jai-Yun waited, watching as the old alliances that had held the galaxy together for centuries began to crack. The Council was fracturing, and everyone in the room knew it. The appearance of the Phoenix had only accelerated the process. Finally, Jai-Yun stood. The simple action, performed with quiet dignity, brought a gradual silence to the chamber. All eyes, whether they were compound, crystalline, or simple pairs, turned to her. "We offer partnership, not dominance," she stated firmly, her voice carrying clearly through the room. "Earth remembers what it means to be the underdog. We remember centuries of watching the stars, dreaming of reaching them, while others passed us by." She activated the holographic display in the center of the chamber. A 3-dimensional map of known space appeared, trade routes glowing like golden threads between the stars. "Look at these routes," she continued. "They were established to benefit the largest council species, forcing smaller worlds to pay premium rates for basic supplies. Earth proposes a new network. The hologram shifted, showing new paths between the stars. Equal access for all species, protected by joint patrols. The Meridian representative's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue. And who would control these joint patrols? They would be truly joint, Jai-Yun explained. Ships and crews from all participating species working together. Earth will share its shield technology with our partners, making the patrols effective against pirates and raiders. This announcement caused another stir in the chamber. Earth's shield technology was coveted throughout known space, having proven superior to anything the Council races possessed. You would share such technology? Asked the Arcosian, his crystal form dimming with surprise. With partners, yes, Jai-Yun confirmed. Earth believes in lifting others up, not holding them down. We remember those who helped us when we were developing, and those who tried to keep us isolated. We choose a different path. The Varian representative trilled softly. This is why we sought Earth's protection. They understand what it means to grow stronger through cooperation, not conquest. Jai-Yun moved around the central hologram, her steps measured and calm. The galaxy is changing. The old system of power is crumbling. We can either fight against this change, leading to chaos and conflict, or we can work together to build something better. She paused, looking at each representative in turn. Earth extends an open invitation to all species, large and small. Join us in creating a new alliance based on mutual respect and cooperation. Our ships will protect trade routes for all members equally. Our technologies will be shared fairly. Our resources will be distributed based on need, not political power. The chamber grew quiet as the implications of her words sank in. It was more than an offer of protection or trade. It was a complete reshaping of galactic society. The Council has stood for 10,000 years, the Meridian representative said softly, their skin now a deep purple of contemplation. And perhaps it's time for something new, Jai-Yun responded. Something that serves all species, not just the most powerful. As the representatives began to discuss among themselves, Min-Su leaned close to Jai-Yun again. The Tellarate ships are requesting docking permission. They're ready to begin negotiations immediately. Jai-Yun allowed herself a small smile. Change was coming to the galaxy, whether the old powers were ready or not. Earth would make sure it was changed for the better. The Antares sector lit up like a newborn star as weapons fire crisscrossed the vast expanse of space. The HSS Phoenix led Earth's defense fleet against the incoming enemy vessels, their dark forms silhouetted against the red giant sun. Captain Min-Ho Kang stood at his command station, his expression calm despite the chaos unfolding before him. Status report, he called out, his voice steady as another blast rocked the ship. Shields holding at 87%, reported the defense officer. Enemy fleet continuing their advance in standard attack formation. The main view screen showed dozens of hostile ships approaching in a rigid, textbook formation. They were Arcosian vessels, their crystalline hulls gleaming with deadly purpose. The rebel faction had decided to test Earth's resolve, thinking the Phoenix's reputation was mere propaganda. All ships, execute pattern Delta, Min-Ho commanded through the fleet-wide channel. Show them why we trained for this. The Earth fleet responded immediately. Instead of maintaining their defensive line, the ships broke apart in what seemed like random directions. To the Arcosian commanders, it must have looked like chaos, like the human fleet was breaking under pressure. They couldn't have been more wrong. Enemy fleet taking the bait, First Officer Yi Jin-song announced from her station. They're splitting their formation to pursue our scattered ships. Min-Ho nodded, watching as the trap prepared over months of training began to unfold. Launch ghost drones. Hundreds of small, unmanned vessels shot out from the Earth ships. These drones, using technology reverse-engineered from old Council probes, projected false energy signatures that made them appear as full-sized warships to enemy sensors. The Arcosian fleet hesitated, their neat formation wavering as their sensors suddenly showed triple the number of Earth vessels. In that moment of confusion, the real Earth ships struck. "All ships, execute micro-jumps on my mark," Min-Ho ordered. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Phoenix and its fellow ships performed impossibly precise FTL jumps, flickering in and out of space in microsecond bursts. Each jump placed them in perfect firing positions around the now scattered Arcosian fleet. "Target their shield generators," Min-Ho commanded. Coordinated fire, pattern Omega. The Earth fleet fired as one, their weapons precisely calibrated to overwhelm the Arcosian shields at specific points. The rebel ships, designed for traditional space combat, couldn't adapt quickly enough to this new style of warfare. "Sir, they're trying to regroup," reported the tactical officer. "Just as planned. Signal the Varian contingent." From behind the red giant's corona, where they had been hiding all along, emerged a fleet of Varian ships. Earth's new allies struck the Arcosian rear, their lighter vessels executing maneuvers that perfectly complemented the Earth fleet's tactics. The Phoenix itself moved like a dancer through space, its advanced systems allowing it to perform maneuvers that should have torn a ship of its size apart. Min-Ho had drilled his crew relentlessly for months, preparing them for this moment. "Enemy flagship is breaking formation," Yi-Jin reported. "They're attempting to coordinate a retreat." "Not yet," Min-Ho said firmly. "Show them why retreat should have been their first choice. Execute Phoenix Special." The massive Earth ship suddenly accelerated to full speed, heading straight for the heart of the enemy fleet. At the last possible moment, it performed what would become known as the Phoenix Roll, a combination of FTL micro-jumps and conventional maneuvering that let it spiral through the enemy formation, its weapons firing with surgical precision. The Arcosian ships, unable to track the Phoenix's movements, fired at where they predicted it would be. Instead, they hit their own vessels, adding to the chaos. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," announced the tactical officer, unable to keep the pride from his voice. 87% of their vessels are disabled but salvageable. Casualty reports indicate minimal loss of life on both sides. Min-Ho allowed himself a small smile. That had been the goal, to win decisively while preserving life. Earth remembered its own history of warfare all too well. They had no desire to repeat those mistakes on a galactic scale. "Send the standard message to the disabled ships," he ordered. "Medical assistance and rescue crews are standing by if they power down their weapons." As the battle drew to a close, the Antares sector slowly returned to its natural state. The weapons fire faded, replaced by the steady work of rescue and recovery vessels. The Phoenix had led Earth's first major fleet engagement, and it had done so in a way that would be studied in war colleges across the galaxy for generations to come. Min-Ho looked around his bridge at his tired but proud crew. They had just demonstrated that humanity's approach to space combat was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It wasn't just about technology or firepower. It was about adaptability, creativity, and the determination to find better solutions. "Send word to Earth Command," he said finally. "The Antares sector is secured. And tell them the Phoenix sends its regards." The message was clear to everyone in known space. Humanity wasn't just ready to join the galactic community. They were ready to help lead it into a better future. The Grand Council chamber wasn't as crowded as it used to be. Council member Do-Yeon Kim sat in her chair, watching as dozens of empty seats marked the absence of the old guard. The aftermath of the Battle of Antares had shaken the galaxy's political structure to its core. Species that had held power for thousands of years were now facing a new reality. Do-Yeon adjusted her formal robes, a blend of traditional Korean and modern Earth diplomatic styles. Her position as Earth's representative on the Council had become increasingly important as more species turned to Earth for leadership and protection. "The trade alliance with the Varians has been finalized," her assistant whispered, passing her a datapad. "Their ships are already using the new routes through the Carina sector." She nodded, remembering how those same routes had been restricted just months ago. The old council had controlled trade through artificial barriers and excessive tariffs. Now ships of all species moved freely, protected by joint patrols. "Shall we begin today's session?" asked the Meridian speaker, their skin shifting through shades of blue and green. The question itself was a change. In the past, the council's most powerful members would simply start speaking whenever they wished. Du Yen stood, her movement drawing all eyes in the chamber. "Before we begin, I would like to welcome our newest members. The Tellarite and Kestrel representatives will now take their seats among us as full council members." The two new representatives moved to their chairs, their pride evident. For centuries, their species had been considered too small, too unimportant for council membership. Now they sat as equals. "We have received 6 more applications for membership," announced the Meridian speaker, all from species previously classified as developing. A murmur ran through the chamber. The old council would have dismissed such applications immediately, but things had changed. The Battle of Antares had proved that traditional power meant little against innovation and adaptation. "Earth supports their applications," Du Yen stated clearly. "We propose a review committee with equal representation from both established and new council members." More whispers filled the chamber. Such a balanced committee would have been unthinkable months ago. But Earth's growing influence, backed by both military strength and a reputation for fair dealing, made it hard to oppose. The trade maps displayed on the chamber's main screen showed the extent of the changes. New routes glowed green, marking paths that bypassed the old, restricted spaces. Ships from dozens of species traveled these routes, protected by joint patrols led by Earth vessels. "The Arcosian rebels have requested peace talks," announced a representative from one of the older species, their crystalline form dimmed with what might have been embarrassment. The same Arcosians who had once dismissed Earth as primitive now sought their mediation. Du Yen nodded. "Earth will host the negotiations on New Geneva Station. All interested parties are welcome to send observers." This was another change. In the past, such negotiations would have happened behind closed doors, with deals made in secret. Earth's insistence on transparency had transformed galactic politics. A small ship appeared on the chamber's screens, approaching the council station. It carried representatives from 3 more species seeking membership. Just months ago, they wouldn't have dared to approach. Now they came with confidence, knowing they would be heard. "The galaxy is changing," Du Yen addressed the chamber. "We can either change with it or be left behind. Earth remembers being on the outside, watching others make decisions that affected our future. We choose a different path." She activated her console, bringing up reports from across known space. Trade was flourishing along the new routes. Species that had been enemies for generations were working together on joint projects. The old power structure wasn't just crumbling. It was being replaced by something better. "Innovation comes from cooperation," she continued. "The Phoenix proved that in battle. Earth's fleet succeeded not because we were stronger, but because we worked together in new ways. Now we must apply that lesson to peace." The chamber grew quiet as her words sank in. The old council members looked at their empty seats, remembering absent friends who had chosen to cling to the past. The newer members sat straighter, proud to be part of this transformation. Du Yen surveyed the chamber, seeing hope where there had once been only rigid tradition. The galaxy was entering a new age, and Earth was helping to guide the way. Not through conquest or dominance, but through partnership and innovation. "Now," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber, "shall we begin building our future together?" The response was unanimous. The galaxy had changed, and there was no going back. The new order wasn't just about power, it was about possibility. And that made all the difference. The stars shone brightly through the massive windows of Proxima Station as the HSS Phoenix made its final approach. The great ship moved with graceful precision, its dark hull reflecting the light of nearby stars. 1 year had passed since humanity's dramatic entrance onto the galactic stage, and now the Phoenix had come home to witness the birth of something new. Captain Minho Kang stood on the observation deck beside Ambassador Jai-Yun Choi, watching as ships from 30 different species arrived for the first Alliance summit. Each vessel represented a civilization that had chosen to join Earth's vision of a united galaxy. "Hard to believe it's only been a year," Minho said quietly, his captain's uniform crisp and neat despite the long journey. "Sometimes it feels like decades." Jai-Yun nodded, her diplomatic robes flowing gently in the station's artificial breeze. A year of change, a year of hope. The new Alliance headquarters stretched before them, its design a perfect blend of function and beauty. Gone were the towering spires and imposing architecture of the old Council Station. This place was built for cooperation, not intimidation. Ships of all sizes and designs continued to arrive. The Varian vessels glided like silver birds through space. Meridian ships pulsed with colors that matched their crews' emotions. Even a delegation of Arcosian ships had come, their crystalline hulls catching and splitting starlight into rainbow arrays. "The first session begins in 1 hour," Jai-Yun's assistant reported, approaching with a datapad. "All 30 species have confirmed their attendance." Inside the new Alliance chamber, every detail reflected the changed times. The room was perfectly circular, with no raised platforms or special seats to mark status or rank. Each representative's position was equal in distance from the center, where a holographic display could show everything from star maps to trade routes. Minho watched as the chamber filled. Species that once would have never spoken to each other now sat side by side, sharing ideas and plans. The Phoenix's crew, scattered throughout the station on various duties, drew respectful looks from passing aliens. Their ship had become more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of what was possible. Jai-Yun stepped to the center of the chamber as the session began. Her voice carried clearly through the space, translated instantly into 30 different languages. "We didn't come to conquer," she said, her words echoing the message Earth had maintained from the start. "We came to cooperate, to learn, and to grow. Together, we'll explore the galaxy not as competitors, but as partners." The holographic display activated, showing the Phoenix in orbit around Proxima Station. Against the backdrop of stars, it looked powerful yet peaceful, exactly what Earth hoped to be. "Our first year has shown what we can achieve together," Jai-Yun continued. "New trade routes have brought prosperity to worlds that once struggled. Joint defense patrols have nearly eliminated piracy in 3 sectors. Research teams from different species have made breakthroughs that none could have achieved alone." She gestured to the assembled representatives. "Each of you chose to join this alliance not because of force or fear, but because you saw a better way forward. Today, we make that choice permanent." The chamber's lights dimmed slightly as the main doors opened. A group of children from various species entered, each carrying a small light. They moved to the center of the room, arranging themselves in a circle. "These are our future," Jai-Yun said softly. "They will grow up in a galaxy where cooperation is normal, where innovation is shared, where peace is expected rather than hoped for." The children raised their lights together, and the beams merged in the center of the chamber, creating a brilliant starburst effect. It was a powerful symbol, separate lights becoming something greater together. From his position near the chamber's edge, Minho felt pride swell in his chest. The Phoenix had fought when necessary, but its greatest victory had been showing the galaxy a different path. As the ceremony continued, ships kept arriving at the station. Each one passed by the Phoenix, its presence a reminder that strength could serve peace, that power could protect partnership, that the future belonged to those willing to share it. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had helped guide that change not through dominance, but through understanding. The Phoenix would continue to patrol the stars, but now it protected the dreams of 30 species, not just one. As the light from the children's ceremony filled the chamber, Minho smiled. This was what they had fought for, not victory, but possibility. Not power, but potential. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and its light would shine for generations to come.